restrict your nighttime activities.
What if Patrick Bateman stepped into the Victorian era, put on a governess's dress, and smiled while planning murder? Welcome to CheezeDrama. Today we're diving into one of the most shocking, twisted, and darkly hilarious horror thrillers of 2026, Victorian Psycho. This isn't your typical Victorian ghost story. This is a nightmare wrapped in elegance, a tale where beautiful mansions hide terrifying secrets, where every polite smile masks something sinister, and where the person hired to protect the children may actually be the most dangerous person in the entire house. If you enjoy psychological horror, gothic mysteries, pitch-black comedy, and unforgettable anti-heroes, then this movie deserves a place on your watch list. But be warned, this story is not for the faint of heart. Victorian Psycho takes us back to the dark and mysterious world of 1858 Victorian England, where behind the beauty of grand mansions, expensive clothes, and perfect manners lies a world filled with secrets, cruelty, and hidden darkness. The story begins when Winifred Notty arrives at the enormous and gloomy Enser house. She has been hired as the new governess for the wealthy Pounds family. Her responsibility appears simple: educate their children, Drusilla and Andrew, teach them manners, and become a respectable member of the household. At first glance, Winifred seems like the perfect Victorian governess. She is intelligent, calm, polite, and well-spoken, but beneath her elegant appearance is a deeply disturbing personality. Winifred is not like ordinary people. She feels little fear, almost no empathy, and has a strange fascination with death and violence. She views human suffering with a cold curiosity, almost like she is studying an interesting experiment. As she settles into Enser House, Winifred begins observing the Pounds family and discovers that the wealthy household is far from perfect. The family hides disturbing secrets behind their respectable image. The mansion is filled with arrogance, hypocrisy, and cruelty. The rich owners pretend to represent morality and tradition, but their actions reveal a much darker reality. While working during the day, Winifred secretly battles the violent thoughts and memories from her past. At night, she walks through the mansion's silent corridors, exploring hidden rooms and allowing her darker side to slowly emerge. The movie also shows Winifred's memories of her earlier life, a journey through horrifying experiences involving abuse, poverty, religious hypocrisy, and the cruel conditions of Victorian society. Through these memories, we understand that Winifred's mind has been shaped by a lifetime of darkness. However, the film keeps the audience questioning: is Winifred telling the complete truth, or is her broken mind creating its own version of reality? As strange events begin happening inside Enser House, rumors spread and fear grows among the servants. People start disappearing. Dark secrets begin coming to light, and the peaceful image of the mansion slowly collapses. Winifred's true nature becomes impossible to hide. The woman who arrived as a governess reveals herself as someone capable of terrifying actions. She doesn't simply seek revenge against the people who have wronged her. She treats everyone around her as part of her disturbing fascination with human behavior. Unlike traditional horror characters, Winifred is not driven by anger or sadness. She is driven by curiosity, intelligence, and an unsettling desire to understand violence. The conflict reaches its peak during Christmas morning, when the dark imagination that Winifred had tried to control finally breaks through completely. The mansion that once represented wealth and respectability becomes a place of horror. The people of Enser House are forced to face the monster hiding among them, not a supernatural creature, but a human being with a terrifying mind. However, the movie leaves many questions unanswered. How many crimes did Winifred actually commit? Were the horrifying events real, or were some created by her unstable perception? Can someone without empathy ever understand morality? By the end, Winifred remains a mysterious and unpredictable figure. She is neither a hero nor a simple villain. She is a disturbing reflection of a society where cruelty already existed behind polite smiles and expensive walls. Victorian Psycho is ultimately a dark psychological horror story about madness, Victorian hypocrisy, and the terrifying possibility that the most dangerous person in the room may be the one everyone trusts. Victorian Psycho is intentionally unsettling because it refuses to provide simple answers. Instead of focusing only on who dies, the film asks a far more disturbing question. Can we trust anything we have seen through Winifred Notty's eyes? What truly makes Victorian Psycho stand out isn't just its shocking violence or Gothic setting, it's the unforgettable character at the center of the story. Winifred Notty is unlike most horror villains. She's intelligent, emotionally detached, wickedly sarcastic, and completely unpredictable. One moment she's behaving like the perfect Victorian governess, and the next she's calmly contemplating or committing horrifying acts. That constant uncertainty keeps the audience on edge because you never know what she'll do next. Another major strength is the film's unique blend of psychological horror, dark comedy, and Gothic mystery. Instead of relying on cheap jump scares, the movie builds tension through atmosphere, disturbing conversations, eerie silence, and Winifred's increasingly unstable perception of reality. The result is a haunting experience where viewers are never quite sure what is real and what exists only inside her fractured mind. This unreliable perspective makes every scene feel unsettling and keeps the suspense alive until the very end. The movie also delivers a sharp commentary on Victorian society beneath all the bloodshed. Behind the elegant mansions, expensive clothing, and strict manners lies a world filled with hypocrisy, abuse, class inequality, and hidden corruption. Rather than presenting the wealthy as noble and respectable, the film exposes the darkness hiding beneath their polished image, making the horror feel deeper than simple violence. Visually, Victorian Psycho is absolutely mesmerizing. The production design beautifully recreates 19th century England with magnificent estates, candlelit corridors, snow-covered landscapes, lavish costumes, and haunting Gothic architecture. Every frame feels carefully crafted, creating an atmosphere that is both beautiful and deeply unsettling. The contrast between the elegant surroundings and the horrifying events unfolding inside them makes the film even more disturbing. Finally, the movie is elevated by Maika Monroe's fearless performance as Winifred Notty. She brings an eerie charm to a character who is almost impossible to understand, yet impossible to ignore. Her unsettling smiles, razor-sharp wit, icy expressions, and complete lack of remorse create a villain who is both terrifying and strangely captivating. Even when Winifred commits unspeakable acts, Monroe's magnetic screen presence keeps you watching, making her one of the most memorable horror protagonists of recent years. If you want to make your review even more impactful, place this section just before your final verdict to explain why the film feels so different from typical horror movies. The film features an impressive ensemble cast led by Maika Monroe, who delivers a fearless and unforgettable performance as the chilling governess Winifred Notty, effortlessly balancing psychological terror with dark humor. Thomasin McKenzie brings warmth and emotional depth to the kind-hearted Miss Lamb, providing a touching contrast to Winifred's unsettling nature. Jason Isaacs commands the screen as the arrogant and eccentric Mr. Pounds, while Ruth Wilson portrays the sophisticated yet mysterious Mrs. Pounds with quiet intensity. The younger cast members, Evie Templeton as Drusilla Pounds and Jacoby Jupe as Andrew Pounds, give convincing performances that add innocence and vulnerability to the increasingly disturbing story. Supporting performances from Amy DeBryn as Mrs. Fancy, Barry O'Connor as Mr. Finch, Paul Reed as Mr. Fischel, Catherine Moran as Marigold, Kate Brady as Amelia, Dagmar Doring as Mrs. Prim, Alan DeValley as the puppeteer, Tom Mordell as the footman, and Simon Brencher as the cook help bring the eerie Victorian world of Ensor House vividly to life. Director Zachary Wigon, adapting Virginia Feito's acclaimed novel, delivers a stylish psychological thriller that constantly balances horror and dark comedy. However, the movie isn't perfect. While it builds incredible suspense, many viewers may feel the climax doesn't fully deliver on its wild potential. The story hints at absolute chaos, but sometimes pulls back just when you expect complete madness. Several supporting characters also seem to belong to different styles of storytelling. Some are played completely seriously, while others lean into absurd comedy, creating an intentionally strange but occasionally uneven tone. Still, those imperfections don't stop the movie from being unforgettable. This isn't a traditional slasher, it isn't a supernatural ghost story, and it certainly isn't a simple psychological thriller. It's an unpredictable descent into madness, where humor, horror, violence, and Victorian elegance collide in the most bizarre ways imaginable. If movies like American Psycho, Gothic mysteries, unreliable narrators, psychological horror, and dark satire are your kind of entertainment, Victorian Psycho is definitely worth experiencing. Just don't expect a comforting ending. Expect uncomfortable laughter. Expect disturbing imagery. Expect unforgettable performances. And most importantly, expect to question everything you just witnessed. Overall, Victorian Psycho is a bold, stylish, disturbing, and surprisingly funny psychological horror film that isn't afraid to take risks. While its finale may leave some viewers wanting even more insanity, its unforgettable central performance, haunting atmosphere, razor-sharp humor, and Gothic storytelling make it one of the most unique horror releases of 2026. Our rating is 8.5 out of 10. So, what do you think? Will Winifred Notty become one of the most unforgettable horror anti-heroes of recent years? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to CheezeDrama for more movie reviews, ending explained videos, and the latest updates on upcoming films. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.